In many ways, today was the Super Bowl of the stock market. Investors around the world scarily waited for Nvidia earnings, and the trend continues, baby. Nvidia stock just made a brand new all-time high. It is running up in after hours right now after they actually reported some pretty solid earnings. In today's video, of course, we're going to take a deep dive look at Nvidia stock, but we also have to talk a lot about other stocks and other good setups for tomorrow as well. And on top of that, today's big money trade is a $4.5 million trade related to COVID and increasing cases yet again. So we have an action-packed video today. You better stick with us all the way to the end. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, I talked about this trend line last night, and guess what happened today? We actually bounced off of that a little bit, came right back up, and we're all the way up above 444 with those Nvidia earnings coming out. We've all been anticipating it for the past couple days, and we had a nice run up into those earnings today. You can see Nvidia's stock was actually pretty flat, but it was moving pretty well. Now in after hours, Mike, we're all the way up to $510, with the high being just around $515. So I'm watching this one for a continuation. I don't know how high it'll get or if it'll end up dropping back down a little bit. Let us know in the comments what you think about it. But man, Mike, it is awesome to see this thing running above $500. I'm sure a lot of people out there are happy. Now, I was actually looking at it a little bit more to the downside, but hey, now that it ran up and we're breaking 500, I might watch it up for a couple days for a nice continuation.
The rocket burners just keep on burning with this one. Seriously, it's just, like I said, made a brand new all-time high. And to be honest, their earnings were pretty good. So basically what happened is they just crushed their revenue and earnings per share expectations. They had an 88% jump in revenue, which is huge. Of course, they have a lot of AI hype associated with them as well. They raised their guidance, which is a good thing. And the cherry on top is they also announced a $25 billion share buyback program. So, obviously great news for them, but the stock is, as a lot of people would say, is still overvalued. That does not mean that it can't keep running, but right now it has a ton of hype to it. Buyers are still in control, and, surprise, surprise, Tom, Nvidia made yet again a new all-time high.
Yeah, and they did this on their last earnings. They had that big run up to around 400. Now they're up to 500. It seems like every time we have a big earnings move, Mike, we're jumping up back up to that big whole dollar amount there, like a big $500, $400 level. And whenever I see Nvidia making moves like this, I mean, look at that daily chart. It is wild. It reminds me of Tesla back in its prime, back before COVID. If we see Tesla here, they were a stock that was moving kind of similar to this. They would have big runs of the upside. Of course, they consolidated sometimes, but then they still got those good earnings, and they ended up pushing even higher a lot of the time. And I kind of feel like Nvidia is getting that type of craze, that type of hype going on right now, and it's really cool to see. I love seeing stocks whenever stuff like this happens. Like we said, though, it's pretty unorthodox. Like, this does not happen all the time. This is a very one-off event, Mike? Like, it's a very rare thing to see moves like this happen. Like I said, the last time was really with Tesla that we saw something have like this much continuations like this.
Exactly. And at this point, Nvidia is trading for like $510 a share. And if you're not already in it, I do not think you should get into it, right? Like, if you didn't buy at 110, you shouldn't be buying at 510. If you didn't buy at 200, same story. If you buy at 300, you shouldn't be buying now, right? The stock, it's possible for it to keep going up, but it's just a matter of time before it eventually slows down. So be careful with it. It has a lot of momentum right now. But what's also worth noting is I was looking at some data today to see what Nvidia insiders are actually doing, and this kind of surprised me a little bit, Tom. So we could see on Open Insider that Nvidia insiders have been dumping Nvidia shares at a crazy pace. And the last time any insider at Nvidia actually willingly bought the stock was all the way back almost 3 years ago in December of 2020. So, while the stock is booming, a lot of insiders are they're dumping shares, like there's no other way to say it.
Yeah, look at some of these numbers here. Like I don't even know who some of these people are. Like Mark A. Stevens, or $51 million right there, $48 million. It looks like by Jones Harvey. So it's these are some big numbers here, Mike. And whenever I'm going through here and I'm looking at these dates and things, I mean, it is apparent, right? Like they say the trade dates. We're obviously back in June and then July. So keep in mind that there are some filing requirements. Like we don't really get to see a lot of these until after the fact, but it's definitely interesting to see here. And I can guess that why they're not buying, Mike. I mean, that stock is just so high right now. And at the same time, they do get paid out in shares too, so they might not necessarily need to buy it, but we still do see purchases happen a lot of the times.
No doubt. So if you profited off of this Nvidia run-up, congratulations to you. This stock increase has been truly historic, right? But at the same time, don't get greedy. I saw a lot of people make a ton of money off of the Tesla run-up, whether it was in 2020 or even later, but some people got too greedy and ended up losing a lot of it. So if you're blessed to have made a lot of money, protect yourself. There's nothing wrong doing that, especially after the stock went from $110 all the way to over $510 now. Now, Tom, for Nvidia right now, of course, they just reported earnings, but they also have that conference call, and we do know how trends can change somewhat quickly with these conference calls. So, just keep in mind this stock will be one of the most volatile stocks in the entire market for the rest of the week.
Yeah, exactly. And, we go back to another stock from this week, Zoom, right? Like, look at their earnings. They were doing great in after hours. They were flying to the upside. And then, the conference calls happened. They started flying back down. And then the next morning it opened, they got even lower. But they did end up coming back a little bit today. But it just goes to show how these things can turn around. So just keep your eyes on Nvidia. It's definitely going to be a big play for the next couple days. And it actually is pushing QQQ, SPY, and other stocks to the upside, which is amazing to see. It's no surprise, obviously. We've thought this would happen if the play went like this. And looking at SPY here, it's starting to kind of break some of these trend lines that we've had on the chart for a while. So maybe we'll go on like a short-term uptrend now again. And it looks like we're coming up to test maybe like 448 to 450 sometime soon.
Yep, we shall see. So Nvidia is not the only stock that is flying high today. We're also seeing some great inflows to GLD and SLV. So gold and silver are having some great green days right now, and you can't ignore that because, it's not every day where you see like gold or specifically silver up, 4%.
Yeah, I love these metals, and we've been talking about them a lot the past few days. Mike, I know that it's been like your plays for the day, just about, I would say 50% of the time for the past 2 weeks. So I've been loving it with silver and gold. It's been nice to see them coming up off of these lows, and that was a big run today. I don't know if people thought there was some fear coming into the market or what's been going on with these movements up like this, but it's good to see. Now, it is kind of following SPY to the upside, so I wonder if it'll go up tomorrow with Nvidia and SPY doing so well. I guess only time will tell, but I would think so. It's been kind of actually following the market lately, which is, most people buy these stocks to go against the market, but lately it's been kind of going with it.
True that. And, speaking of gold and silver, which are precious metals, there was some news that just came out where two former precious metals traders at JP Morgan just got sentenced to prison for manipulating the market. So basically what happened is they lost people tens of millions of dollars due to their manipulation. And long story short, they personally got charged a $50,000 fine and a $35,000 fine. One of these traders is sentenced to 2 years in prison, and the other is sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison. So that was interesting, and I figured I'd cover it while we talk about these precious metals. But what's even more interesting is while the traders didn't get fined too badly, considering how much money they cost other people to do their manipulation, JP Morgan had to pay a $920 million fine because of this. So they took a beating on this one.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen people talk about what these guys were doing a lot before. They got charged for price manipulation, spoofing, stuff like that. So people have talked about stuff like that going on for a long, long time. Sound off in the comments how you guys feel about this. I know a lot of people have strong opinions about it, Mike, and I know it pisses a lot of people off. So let us know in the comments how you think, and if you think that maybe 1 year or 2 years is too short of a sentence, let us know. And I'll tell you what, I damn well definitely think that fine is too low. That should definitely be like 500,000 to $1 million, and this guy should have easily gotten like 300,000.
Yeah, it's crazy because they were manipulating those markets for years. It said like from 2008 to, what was it, Tom? 2016. That's a pretty big run for this type of manipulation.
Yeah, that is a long time, and imagine that ever since the financial crisis till around the time Trump took office. That is a long period of time. So I definitely would have thought it would have been a little bit worse. And going back to gold and silver, people do say that those commodities are pretty highly manipulated, and it looks like the proof is in the pudding now. At least some people are starting to get caught for it finally.
So either way, keep a close eye on GLD and SLV, both of which are moving to the upside in a pretty awesome way. And, given the current situation we have in the market, it is nice to have stocks that kind of do their own thing. And I think the setup with gold and silver are pretty good right now to the upside. And don't worry, we'll talk more about this in just a couple minutes. But I think it's definitely worth watching. So with that being said, Tom, while Nvidia earnings is over with, we still have some other important events on the schedule for this week. What do we have to know?
Yeah, so there's not really too many more earnings on the calendar, so no big point in even throwing that one up there. But looking at trading economics, we still have the Jackson Hole Symposium going on right now. And man, I'll tell you what, that Powell's speech coming up on Friday at 10:05 a.m. Eastern Time is going to be very crucial. Watch this. He could incite things about the economy or about what they're going to do to maybe combat this inflation upticking. He might talk about mortgage rates. He could talk about a plethora of things. So keep your eyes peeled on Friday. I'll be covering it on the Stocked Up Live YouTube channel. Make sure to check out the link down below. It is a separate channel from this one. So give us some love and go subscribe over there.
There we go. Yeah, Friday is the next big day in the markets. Now that Nvidia earnings are out of the way, it gives investors like a day to just like cool off, and then it's game time again on Friday. So you guys better get ready for that. But we do have some pretty good setups brewing in the market right now. And the first and most important one that I'm watching is right back to GLD. So looking at gold right now, GLD, right now it is currently priced around $178 a share. I think this one's setting up in a good way where you could have like a stop loss right around like 174, like 70 or so, and then like a profit target all the way up to, whether it be 183, and if you wanted to give it a little bit more room, a second profit target closer to 189 or even 190.
Yeah, that's actually looking pretty good here, Mike. And I would think for the short term here, we could see some good uptrends coming. There's some big levels I have around like 180 and 184 to 185, and then, of course, 190 after that. So we're going to have some good movement, I feel like, over the next few days out of gold and silver. Let's keep it up. I was glad to see those great uptrends coming in here today. And with my first play, I'm going with AMD. This thing is following Nvidia to the upside in a crazy way. They're running up to resistance around 1350 to 14. This is going to be a total feel play tomorrow. If we see the market continuing to go up and AMD has good momentum with Nvidia, then go ahead and look at some calls. But like I said, you're going to have to feel out that momentum, and specifically at market open, I'm hoping for like a nice open, kind of like we had today. If you can catch some momentum like that, it could pay off pretty well. Just, be careful. Make sure you keep stops in place, and make sure that you're obviously not going in too heavy on these crazy scalps like this.
Sounds good. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is BABA. It's a crazy Chinese stock, and it is all over the place. And basically looking at BABA right now, it had some pretty awesome momentum today, and I think it's definitely worth watching very closely. over the next couple of days and even the next couple weeks, when this stock has like good momentum or volume flowing into it, it can really move. On top of that, it's making higher lows, and some of these China stocks really starting to show some upside potential. So I'm going to be watching this one very closely for tomorrow.
I love it too, Mike. These China stock could be great, and I love it that they don't follow our markets, which is pretty good. Now, they do a little bit, but of course, mainly they deal with just their own companies there, so I love that. And talking about something that generally goes its own direction, well, I've been talking about X a lot the past few days, and, this some of these other companies like this, and I've been loving X here. Today now, it actually had some pretty bad news. If we look at Thinkorswim, they had S-Mark pull their bidding on U.S. Steel, and U.S. Steel actually declined one of Cleveland Cliffs' offers the other day. They actually flew up when they declined the offer, but when S-Mark pulled this, they ended up tanking down. And I talked about this trend line yesterday. It looks like that broke, and then this pull happened. So I will be watching this one to the downside. It's a little bit overextended in the short term. If it falls under $30, I will eye up puts there. If it does break above $32.50 out of the range, I'll look at it up. But with that big momentum today down, I'll have to look at it to the downside.
All righty, sounds good. So I'll keep a close eye on that one as well. But Tom, it's now time to jump right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Zoom. So Zoom had a great bounce back from earnings. When it first reported earnings, everyone was celebrating, right? It was finally showing some upside momentum after years of just constant abuse. We'll say that on the charts. And then, when open came, it started tanking down, but it is recovering back up, and it's, starting to show some good potential. So for Zoom, Tom, we are watching this one to the upside tomorrow. What level do you have for us?
Yeah, we're sitting right at $69.50, and we're right around $70. So I'm going to watch $69.50, but also keep your eyes on $70. That's going to be a pretty big level to watch. I love those areas there, though. If we get some good breaks above that tomorrow, I think we could possibly have a good run up to 71, 72, maybe even that high from earnings, around 73. So I'll definitely watch it, Mike. It's one of the funner stocks out there.
Sounds good. With the next one, we have wheat, also to the upside.
Yeah, and we've talked about this one a lot lately as well. If they break out above $6.35, I'll go ahead and look at those calls. WEAT, it's been falling off a little bit the past couple weeks, but I think it's due to come back up with some velocity.
All righty. And then with the last one, we have TLT, but we need both directions.
I'll say these yields and stocks that follow yields lately have been wild. So TLT here to the upside. If they break above 95.60, go ahead and look at calls up. I like the level they're at. If they fall back under 95 even, then go ahead and eye up those puts. But I'll say, Mike, it's been pretty good to see TNX falling off the past couple days.
Yeah, let's do it. Good stuff. So we're watching TLT for that upside level. If it breaks above that, we are watching it for calls. We have the downside level as well. If it breaks below that, we're watching it for puts. And then don't forget about WEAT and Zoom with their upside levels as well for calls. But today's next video segment is pretty crazy and somewhat unusual and rare. So we'll start off with the big money trade, which is a $4.5 million trade on Moderna. And you guys all know Moderna, COVID vaccine stock. Basically, what we're seeing right now is someone dumping $4.5 million into Moderna call options, more specifically the 115 strike call options that expire on April 19th of 2024. Now, Moderna is a stock that has had, quite the run over the years. So in 2020, it went from basically like a no-name company trading for like $13 a share all the way up to basically $500 a share. And then since that point, it fell a ton, and now it's around 115. And someone's basically betting on a huge run up with Moderna right now, worth $4.5 million. And the higher it goes, the more millions they'll make. So that's interesting by itself. But what's even more interesting is that this is coming at the time where we're seeing so-called experts say it may be time to break out the masks again against COVID. And, there's been a lot of talk with, like another wave and another variant with COVID. And I just think this timing's a little bit interesting, Tom. So take of this what you will. I'll say that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, take of it how you want. I don't want to get too political with it, but all I have to say, Mike, is that you'll have to shoot me before I wear a mask again. So, so it's gonna be like that. But looking at the stock here with Moderna, it's actually a pretty good one. As much as I don't necessarily agree maybe with Moderna or etc., I do think that the stock has a great opportunity. We're sitting here at $100 a share. It's came down so much lately, and if we do happen to get like a wave of COVID or something like that this winter, I think it could be potentially a great play, and they have this out for quite a while, going all the way out to April. So keep that in mind too. It's not like they're playing this for tomorrow. They're probably looking for this thing to pop up to like 150 or something by summer of next year.
Exactly. So, with everything going on, it's not a bad setup. The stock's at a decent price. The news supports it. And when you see someone having a $4.5 million trade like this with call options that are right at the money, that have some time to them, it's really not bad. So, with that being said, I'm going to have a very close eye on Moderna over these next couple weeks and months.
Yeah, me too. I think it could be big. And a lot of these healthcare stocks I've been keeping an eye on, even besides Moderna, I've really been watching Pfizer a ton lately too, right around $35. Honestly, I might even just go after Pfizer instead of Moderna just because I like them better as a company. But I think that both of these stocks could end up benefiting pretty well over the next few months.
No doubt. So if you guys are looking to get access to these big money, multi-million dollar trades every single day, but before market close, you gotta check out the first link in the description and the comments down below. Our Discord program allows you to see these multi-million dollar trades before the market closes, so you get better entry prices, but you also get access to our custom bots like SniperBot, HybridBot, SMBot, and a bunch of other great bots and software that you won't find anywhere else. Today's hybrid bot play was awesome. Basically, it called out the BABA 90 strike calls at $107 each, and by the end of the day, these are worth $166 each. If you're into short-term trading, this is the program for you. Basically, anything and everything you could possibly need for short-term trading, especially options trading, we have. A lot of the software is completely custom-made, and you won't find it anywhere else. If you're looking to take your game to the next level, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. You can cancel at any time, and on top of that, Tom and myself spend our lives in this Discord, so if you just want to chat with us too, feel free to join up, and everything's there for you. But yeah, Tom, tomorrow should be a pretty interesting day. We're coming off Nvidia earnings. We had some stocks have some pretty bold moves today. Gold and silver are ticking higher, and it's like every single time I check Nvidia in the after hours, it's just making a new all-time high.
It is. I wonder where it's going to slow down. Give me some predictions in the comments where you think maybe like 525, maybe 530. I don't know, Mike, but we're getting pretty dang high here. Some of those price targets are starting to make more sense now, it seems like it, doesn't it? With some of those banks, we've seen a lot of banks have price targets well above $500. So, it just it's crazy to see the stock actually getting there.
Yeah, and what's very interesting is, while Nvidia earnings and after hours have been great so far, those market makers were not playing any games with this report. They were charging some hefty premiums for those options. So what's kind of scary is that some of these people who bought calls, they're not in the clear just yet because it has to move up enough to justify the premium they paid. But, if you traded Nvidia to the upside, I'm very happy for you, and I hope this stock keeps running up as much as possible for you because this move really is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Those premiums are going to be tough. Like, hopefully you had like a strike like 500 or 485, but I saw a lot of value, Mike, on some strikes like $800, $920. Let's see. Let's see what the volume ended up at today. $920 strike had a volume of 1,687. At least that's what I'm seeing on Thinkorswim. That is insane. So I can't believe some of the stuff I saw, but kudos to everyone who won. Congratulations. Let's get some W's in the chat for everybody, but it's awesome, Mike. We got to keep these we got to keep this uptrend going, you know. It's too fun at this point. It's like Tesla in the prime, you know, it got up to like 2,000 a share. I wonder where Nvidia is going to get. It better not be 2,000.
Yeah, it works until it doesn't. You know, it has all the hype and momentum and you know, volume in the world right now, but you know, just protect yourself. That's all I'm going to say, because even Tesla had a pretty violent and nasty pullback once it lost that hype. But overall, we should have a pretty awesome week, guys. We have a lot of stuff going on. We have that very important Powell speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium on Friday, so you guys better be hyped up for that. Last time we had this event, it literally shook the markets. It was insane. So that's pretty exciting, and we're pretty pumped up. So you guys should be too. If you guys want to capitalize off this short-term price action, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. And last but not least, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, which is mcamp5 in the StockedUp Discord. He had an awesome post in the Profits channel today where he did pretty well with AMD call options from the SM bot. So huge shout out to you. Keep up the great work. And besides that, guys, let's end the week on a positive note.